The rain was relentless that night in Portland, turning sidewalks into reflective black mirrors. At 11:08 p.m., Emma Carter left the warm glow of a downtown wine bar after a late dinner with friends. She was tired, a little tipsy, and more than ready to get home. Pulling her coat tighter around her, she ordered a rideshare. The app confirmed. Driver, Daniel. Vehicle, blue Prius. License plate ending in 47K. ETA, 3 minutes. She waited under the awning, watching rain cascade from the edge of the roof. A car pulled up to the curb, but it wasn't blue. It was a dark gray sedan, its wipers struggling against the downpour. The passenger window rolled down, and a man leaned across the seat. "Emma?" His voice was deep, the syllables clipped. She hesitated, glancing at her phone. Maybe Daniel's car color was wrong in the system. Maybe this was just an update the app hadn't shown yet. The rain was coming down harder, and she didn't feel like standing outside another few minutes. Against the whisper of doubt in her mind, she stepped inside. The interior smelled faintly of damp clothes and cheap air freshener. No visible driver ID. No phone mount on the dash. The man didn't greet her again, just pulled away from the curb. She told herself it was fine, but a small knot of unease tightened in her stomach. 2 blocks later, she glanced at his dashboard. No GPS navigation was running, just a static radio station playing low jazz. Her phone buzzed with a notification. Her rideshare driver, Daniel, had arrived at her pickup location and was waiting. She turned slowly to look at the man beside her. He hadn't said a word since they left, but his eyes flicked to her in the mirror. A faint, unreadable smile curved at the corner of his mouth. The rain beat harder against the glass, drowning out the sound of her heartbeat as she quietly unlocked her phone under her coat. She typed 911 but didn't press call yet. Her mind was racing. If she was wrong, this would be embarrassing. If she was right, she might have only minutes. The rain-soaked streets outside blurred into streaks of yellow and white as the sedan accelerated. Emma sat rigid, her fingers curled around her phone inside her coat pocket. She stole a glance at the glowing screen. Daniel's profile picture still stared back at her. The blue Prius was parked exactly where she had been picked up minutes earlier, and the app timer showed 0 minutes into ride. Her stomach dropped. Whoever was driving her now wasn't Daniel. She tapped the chat option in the rideshare app and typed quickly, "I think I got in the wrong car. Please cancel ride." Seconds later, a new message appeared from Daniel. "I'm here at the pickup spot. Did you leave?" Her breathing quickened. She closed the app before the driver could notice, her thumb hovering over the call icon. The man glanced at her briefly and said, "Traffic's bad tonight." His voice was smooth, casual, but the way his hands gripped the wheel told a different story. Emma decided to try something harmless first. "Oh, actually, I think I left my bag back at the restaurant. Could we?" "We're not going back," he interrupted sharply. No smile this time. That was enough. She dialed 911, pressing the phone to her ear under her coat as she hunched slightly toward the window. The line clicked. "911, what's your emergency?" a calm female voice asked. I'm in a car. I think I'm with the wrong driver. He's not taking me to my destination," Emma whispered, barely moving her lips. The dispatcher's tone shifted instantly. "Ma'am, what's your name? Are you safe to talk freely?" "No, he's right next to me, please, and I need help." "Okay, stay on the line. I'm tracking your location from this call. Keep your phone hidden. Answer yes or no if you can't explain." Emma's voice was barely audible over the rain hammering the roof. "Yes." The driver glanced at her again, his brow furrowing. "Who are you talking to?" Emma tilted her phone just enough to shield the screen. "Just texting my friend about dinner," she said with a forced smile. The dispatcher's voice returned, steady but urgent. "Units are en route. Keep describing anything you see, we'll find you." Emma's eyes darted to the window, scanning for street signs, but there were none. Just dark warehouses, flickering street lamps, and the growing realization that they were headed far from home. The dispatcher's voice was calm, but Emma could hear the undercurrent of urgency. "Emma, I need you to keep your eyes open for anything. Street names, businesses, landmarks. Anything that tells me where you are." Emma turned her head just enough to look outside. The buildings were getting older, their facades cracked and tagged with graffiti. A chain-link fence topped with barbed wire slid past, then another. No pedestrians. No open businesses. The kind of place you'd only drive through if you had a reason or something to hide. I see a big red neon sign. Letters are missing. Says Erho something. She whispered. That's good, keep looking. We've got patrol cars moving toward you, the dispatcher said. The driver suddenly flicked the radio off. Silence filled the car, broken only by the swish of the wipers and the hum of the tires on wet pavement. Who were you whispering to? His voice was flat, but there was a steel edge beneath it. Emma's throat felt dry. I told you, just my friend, she's asking where I am. He didn't respond, but his eyes lingered on her in the rearview mirror for a moment longer than she could stand. Then, without warning, he made a sharp right turn into an even narrower street lined with abandoned warehouses. The dispatcher's voice came back, lower now, as if matching Emma's whisper. We're triangulating your signal. Stay calm. You're doing great. Can you see any vehicles or signs nearby? Emma's gaze darted around. I think I heard a train horn. Distant, maybe a few blocks away. Copy that, that helps. The driver reached over and adjusted something on the dashboard. Not the AC, not the radio. Emma couldn't see exactly what it was, but a faint click made her heart pound harder. Suddenly her phone vibrated in her hand. She glanced down, a text from an unknown number. Hang up or I'll know. Her blood ran cold. The timing was too perfect. Was he connected to someone else, or did he have a way of knowing she was on the line? The dispatcher must have sensed the shift in her breathing. Emma, are you still with me? Yes, she whispered, but the word barely left her lips. Outside, the street narrowed further, the glow of the city fading completely. She realized she was being taken somewhere she wouldn't be able to run, or scream loud enough for anyone to hear. Inside the dark sedan, the air felt heavier with every passing block. The smell of damp upholstery clung to Emma's nose. She kept her phone hidden in her coat pocket, her thumb pressing lightly against the screen just to feel the faint warmth, the only lifeline between her and safety. Emma? The dispatcher's voice came softly in her ear. We have 2 units closing in on your area. Keep feeding me clues. Where is he heading now? Emma risked a glance at the windshield. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, but the roads were still slick. They passed an old billboard with peeling paint, advertising a tire shop. The driver slowed near a rusted railroad crossing. The arms stuck permanently upright and turned left without signaling. She whispered, railroad tracks, old billboard. Think it said Tire King. Got it, the dispatcher replied, her voice quickening. Hold on, you're close to a warehouse district off North Halpern. Units are rerouting there. But the driver seemed to sense something. His eyes flicked to the mirrors, scanning behind him. Emma caught the faint reflection of headlights far back in the darkness. Then the driver suddenly accelerated. The tires splashed through a shallow puddle, throwing water against the curb. Why are we going faster? Emma asked, trying to keep her tone light. No reason, he muttered. The dispatcher's voice sharpened. Emma, we think he's trying to lose us. We're coordinating a block at the next intersection. If he turns right, he'll be boxed in. Emma gripped her phone tighter. He's turning. But the driver didn't turn right. He swerved left instead into a narrow lane between 2 looming warehouses. The single overhead light in the alley was dead, leaving only the faint glow from the dashboard. Units lost visual, the dispatcher's voice crackled. Emma, keep talking to me. Describe everything. Emma's heart hammered. It's an alley. Warehouse walls on both sides, no other cars. I think we're slowing. The sedan rolled to a crawl. The driver glanced at her again, his mouth curling into a faint smile. Almost there, he said. Her breath caught. Almost where? The dispatcher's voice came one last time, low but urgent. Emma, whatever happens next, keep the line open. We are coming. The sedan eased out of the alley and into an empty service road. There were no houses here, no pedestrians, just chain-link fences, the hum of distant machinery, and the occasional flicker of a broken street lamp. Emma's grip on her phone was so tight her knuckles ached. The driver kept one hand on the wheel, the other resting casually near the gear shift. But she noticed the tendons in his hand were rigid, his shoulders hunched. He was focused, ready. Emma, the dispatcher's voice whispered through the tiny speaker. We've got a visual on your location from a traffic cam half a mile ahead. Units are in position. They'll try to intercept at the Halpern overpass. Just keep him moving." She swallowed. "Okay." The driver suddenly spoke. "You're awfully quiet back there." "I'm just tired," Emma said, forcing a yawn. But as they approached the overpass, blue lights exploded ahead. 2 squad cars angled across the road, blocking the lane. The driver cursed under his breath and slammed the brakes. Tires squealed against wet pavement. For a split second, Emma thought it was over. Then, in one sharp movement, he jerked the wheel left, darting into an unlit access road that cut under the overpass. The dispatcher's calm broke for the first time. "Emma, hold on. They're following you in." Sirens wailed behind them now, bouncing off the concrete walls. The driver floored the gas, the car fishtailing slightly on the slick asphalt. Emma was thrown sideways against the door. Up ahead, a large chain-link gate loomed, locked with a heavy padlock. The driver didn't slow. Instead, he swerved hard, skidding the sedan into a dead-end space beside the fence. "Out!" he barked, shoving the gear into park. Emma's breath caught in her throat. "What?" "I said out." He reached into his jacket. Before he could pull anything free, headlights blazed into the alley. 2 unmarked SUVs screeched to a stop, blocking any exit. Doors flew open, and armed officers flooded forward, shouting commands. "Hands where we can see them now." The driver froze, then raised his hands slowly. A predator caught mid-strike. Emma was pulled from the car by an officer, her knees weak, heart pounding so hard she thought it might tear through her chest. Somewhere behind her, metal clinked against asphalt as the driver's jacket hit the ground. And with it, a duct-taped handgun. An FBI agent knelt beside her. "You did exactly the right thing calling 911. That kept you alive tonight." Emma nodded faintly, but the words barely registered. She was still replaying every turn, every glance in the rearview mirror. The way he'd said, "Almost there,"